London and Singapore are two cities which, despite being over 10,000 kilometers away from each other and on two different continents, share many similarities in many different ways. They are both well positioned in the world's top 10 wealthiest cities. Both have double-decker buses, both drive on the left, and both are well known for their rainy climate, although with completely different temperatures. Though what struck me the most as a train enthusiast were both cities' metro or rapid transit systems. London is famous for its iconic underground, or tube as it's called. It is well known for being the world's oldest and one of the most iconic rapid transit metro systems. Meanwhile, Singapore prides itself on its MRT, which is widely regarded as one of the best, if not the best, MRT metro rapid transit system in the entire world. And because I found them to have quite some similarities, I decided to compare these two rapid transit systems in this video. We will compare them according to the following criteria. First, the network size, then the ridership, the train frequency, safety, cleanliness, ambience, and by that I mean the trains and the rolling stock itself, the announcements, interchanges, expansion plans, and the fares and ticket prices. Please note that only the London Underground and the Singapore MRT will be compared. London's TLR, trams and Singapore's LRTs will not be taken into consideration. So without further ado, let's start with our comparison. As of today, the London Underground is the 13th largest metro system in the world. It spans 402 kilometers, 272 stations and 11 lines, and it travels at an average speed of 33 kilometers per hour, which is considered average for a metro system. This is the system map, the network map. As you can see, it is quite large. No matter where you're in London, there's always a underground tube station near you. The Singapore MRT network is also quite large, but simply not yet comparable to London's. As of today, it spans 242 kilometers, has 143 stations spanned across 6 lines. And while at first glance Singapore's MRT network appears to be a little smaller than London's, it should be noted that Singapore's MRT network is catching up quickly, but more to that later. Though as of today's network, we will give this point to London. Both rapid transit systems are very busy and are known for their high ridership and their individual rush hours. London's Underground has a daily ridership of 3.23 million people every day, which is fairly high and places London in the 20th rank globally in terms of metro systems with the highest ridership. Meanwhile, Singapore, despite being a smaller city and having a smaller MRT system, has a daily ridership of 3.4 million people, which is really impressive for a city of 5.9 million people, placing it just one spot ahead of London in terms of ridership on MRT systems worldwide. It is actually on rank 19. So, Singapore's MRT daily ridership is higher than London's, despite London having a much higher population at nearly 15 million. Hence, we will give this point to Singapore. The London Underground has one of the world's most frequent and most efficient metro lines, the Victoria Line, which during rush hour has a train every 90 seconds up to every 2 minutes, which is absolutely insane, a train every 90 seconds. Meanwhile, in Singapore, the North-South Line and East-West Line have the highest rush hour frequency and capacity, with a train headway of every 100 seconds to every 3 minutes, which is also really efficient, but not nearly as efficient as the Victoria Line. Really, 90 seconds is really impressive for a rapid transit line. Hats off to that TfL. So we will be giving this point to London. For this aspect, what immediately came to mind to me were platform screen doors to prevent people from falling onto the tracks or being pushed onto the tracks. London has only one line with partially having platform screen doors, which is the Jubilee line, but they only have screen doors between Westminster and North Greenwich. The rest of the Jubilee line does not have any platform screen doors, creating this potentially dangerous situation on all other lines too. When a very fast train is approaching the platform, in London, many lines including the Victoria line approach the station at quite a high speed. When the train is arriving at the platform at high speed and someone either gets pushed onto the track or falls onto the track, that is extremely dangerous. Meanwhile, in Singapore, all stations on all MRT lines have platform screen doors. No matter if underground or above ground stations, they all have platform screen doors, and so it is literally impossible to get pushed onto the tracks. All overground stations have these half-height platform screen doors, while the underground stations have full-height platform screen doors on every single line, which is really safe and makes the Singapore MRT be a lot safer than the London Underground. Hence, this point will be given to Singapore. Cleanliness. Ayo, where do we start? Well, London Underground, it really depends on the line in terms of cleanliness. Some lines like the subsurface line, Circle line and the Jubilee line, Victoria line are mostly fairly clean with little to no trash on the train. All the trains are in good condition, or most of them, and they are well taken care of. However, some other lines are the total opposite. For example, the Bakerloo line is in an absolute state of disarray. Many trains have graffiti on them, they are smelly inside and are generally very unpleasant to ride with. It is really an uncomfortable experience riding the Bakerloo line. But the Central line, I don't even think I need to comment on this footage. Just look at the interior of these trains. As you can see, it is a completely different world in Singapore. Every single MRT line, just like the entire city of Singapore, is spotlessly clean. This immense difference clearly shows where the government's priorities are. It's not the operator TfL's fault for the dirty and horrible condition of the trains, more like it's a government funding problem. They don't seem to fund transportation well enough. So this point also goes to Singapore. For this point, we are going to compare the trains themselves, their interiors, information screens, and their general condition. Newer London Underground trains, such as the 2009 stock running on the Victoria line, actually have quite great interiors, which are in a great condition most of the time. They are clean and not vandalized, and also have these information screens, which display the next station, on which side the doors will open, and connecting lines. And the S-stock trains running on the subsurface underground lines are also among the newest on the London Underground. These trains are actually in the best condition out of all the trains. They also have these screens displaying what the next station is and the connecting lines, and show on which side the doors will open. These are great trains which London can be really proud of. If there's one thing to mention though, is that the deep level underground trains are designed in a way that they actually feel really small, and if you're a tall person you might be struggling in those trains. Though that is not really the London Underground's fault, since it's based on the deep level tube design, which has to do with the tiny tunnels which were designed many years ago. So it isn't something that TfL can really improve today. And also this train design, in my opinion, is fairly iconic to London. However, some older trains on some lines are really in a terrible condition, and unfortunately draw the general image of the London Underground's trains and interiors pretty far down. One of these is the Bakerloo line. Many trains are vandalized with graffiti, and the interior is filthy and really nasty. Also vandalized, and the seats are stainy, and everything feels so greasy. Another one is the Central line, which from the outside the trains don't really look bad, but just wait until you see them from the inside and listen to the noise. That's deafening, but the Central line is not the only line to have this. The Jubilee line is also very loud, as you can hear here. And so are many lines on the London Underground, some even passing 100 decibel, which can be harmful with long-term exposure. Meanwhile, on the Singapore MRT, it also really depends on the train. But let's start with the newer trains, especially the R151 and the C151B and C running on the east-west and north-south lines. These trains are really in an amazing condition. They are very modern, spacious and bright, as you can see here. It is really easy to walk through. They are not narrow, and even taller people like me will not struggle on board. And also they have these amazing screens here. Just take a look on the left screen. When arriving at a station, it shows the escalator and elevator locations. It shows the upper floor layout where the exit and fare gates are, and even where the transfer to the different lines are, and also where the other exits are. This is really unparalleled. I've never seen something like this anywhere else before. And just look at the door closing animation on the screen. This is really insane. It even has a countdown as to when the door will close. But not all trains have the same screens. Some have smaller ones, but they are also quite okay to understand. And some trains, like for example the older ones on the Circle line, like here the C830, they don't have any screens at all. And yes, it can get a little noisy as well, but by far not as deafening as on the London Underground. Overall, we will give this point to Singapore as well. The London Underground has some of the most informative and best metro rapid transit announcements worldwide, giving a lot of information and a lot of necessary utilities. Some lines even have door closing announcements, such as the Victoria line.
Please stand clear of the closing doors.
Though not all lines have door closing announcements, but this is what the next station announcement sounds like.
The next station is King's Cross St Pancras. Doors will open on the left-hand side. Change for Circle, Hammersmith City, Northern and Piccadilly lines, national and international rail services. This station has step-free access.
Meanwhile, these are Singapore's MRT announcements. They are also really nice.
Doors are closing. Next station, Bugis. Change at the next station for the downtown line. Buona Vista. Change at this station for the Circle line.
What I like about Singapore more here is that the announcement audio is really clear, much better than on the London Underground, and also every line has a different chime, which gives the Singapore MRT a unique vibe, which few other MRT systems worldwide have. So I'm gonna have to give this point to Singapore as well. From my experience, changing from one line to the other on the London Underground is a smooth and very straightforward experience. I never had to walk more than 1 or 1.5 minutes to get from one line to the other. Transiting from one line to the other was always very easy. For example, on the Victoria line at Green Park to the Jubilee line at Green Park was definitely not hard at all. It's just a few escalators and a tunnel, and then you're there. Interestingly, from my personal experience, I found changing lines in Singapore to be a lot more complex and more annoying than in London. I can name two specific examples. One is at Marina Bay when changing from the Circle line to the North-South line. You first leave the platform and then have to go through an annoying tunnel. Afterwards, you then go up these escalators, and then you have to walk through along another tunnel which is even longer until you then reach the north-south line, like the area where the north-south line platforms are. And if you wanted to go to the Thomson East Coast line, it's yet another tunnel. And so just walking from the Circle line to the north-south line there always takes me 3 minutes. And another example that I can name is Outram Park when changing from the Thomson East Coast line to the East-West line. That is also really annoying because you always have to walk a very long tunnel. I don't know why they seem to separate the Thomson East Coast line near downtown Singapore always in such huge tunnels which are very long and away from the other lines platforms, which I can understand maybe for geological reasons that they will do that, but personally, I found transiting in Singapore to be a lot more complex than London, so we will give this point to London. The London Underground has some expansion plans and projects currently ongoing. The first of these is the Bakerloo Line Southern Extension from Elephant and Castle to Lewisham. However, despite it only being 4 new stations and not even that long of a route, the project has been put on hold indefinitely for the moment due to a lack of funding. Is getting new rolling stock. The Bakerloo Line, Piccadilly Line and also the Central Line sometime shall get the new Tube for London 2024 stock, which have been delivered this year. However, unfortunately due to technical problems, the entry into service has been postponed to at least late 2026. At least though, we can look forward to some very modern and nice trains with a fantastic interior, modern overhead information screens and a little more spacious inside compared to older trains which are currently running on the network. Meanwhile, the Singapore MRT has got some massive expansion plans. An entirely new MRT line, the Jurong Region line, of which phase 1 is set to open in 2027 and the entire line sometime in the 2040s. It will also be Singapore's first fully elevated MRT line, which will start at Choa Chu Kang and will run down into multiple branches, set to serve the west of Singapore. Another line will be the Cross Island line, of which phase 1 is set to open in 2030 and the full line sometime also in 2040. Unlike the Jurong Region line though, this line will be fully underground. As the name implies, it is set to run throughout the entire length of the island and will also run to the future Changi Airport Terminal 5. New rolling stock will also be introduced for each line. The Jurong Region line will get the Hyundai Rotem J151 trains, which are set to enter service in 2027. This is what the interior will look like. It's really modern and really nice, and I'm really looking forward to this train. The new Cross Island line will get the new CRRC Qingdao Sifang CR151 trains, which are set to enter service in 2030. This is also what the interior will look like. It is also going to be really bright and modern. Brightness will really be needed on this train as it will be running on an underground only route. Also, current lines are set to be upgraded. The downtown line will get extended in both ways. The Circle line will be extended at the south and finally complete the circle. Meanwhile, the Thomson East Coast line is also set to be extended to Changi Airport and take over the Changi Airport shuttle and even serving Changi Airport Terminal 5, which will be opened in the future. More Alstom Movia R151 trains are going to be delivered, and unfortunately this means that the legendary old C151 trains are going to be retired by September of this year already. In terms of expansion plan, this point also goes to Singapore. Both cities have their own travel smart cards. Singapore has the Easy Link card and London has the Oyster card. Both can be topped up at ticket machines throughout the city. A one-station ride in the city centre in London costs £2.80, which is quite expensive for me in my opinion. However, we must note that London has a fare capping system, a fare cap of £8.50 if you are traveling within the city centre, which means that once you reach this cap, this price, you then won't pay more than that price at most, which means that you can make as many unlimited journeys as you want afterwards without paying. Singapore unfortunately does not have a fare capping system, but the fare is much lower. One Singapore dollar 40, which is weaker than the British pound in general, which makes it even cheaper in compared to London. As a result, we will give a point to both cities, London for the fare capping and Singapore for the lower fares overall. And the winner of this comparison is the Singapore MRT. The Singapore MRT simply impresses with its cleanliness, efficiency and futuristic design. It is really one of the best MRT systems in the world, with an incredible ambition to expand and improve even further. However, London's Underground also impresses a lot with its huge network and its amazing performance during rush hour. But what do you think? What is the better MRT system in your opinion? Which one do you like the most? Feel free to share your opinion in the comments below. As of now, I would like to thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, feel free to like and subscribe. It really helps with my motivation to keep making these videos, and I will make more of them in the future. Take care, goodbye and see you soon on the ZRH Trade Spotter channel.